Around 10,000 years ago, all humans had brown eyes. Not dark brown, not light brown. Brown. That was the only option. Eye color is controlled primarily by a gene called OCA2. That gene controls how much melanin your eyes produce. Melanin is what makes eyes dark. More melanin, darker eyes. Blue eyes don't actually have blue pigment. They have almost no pigment at all. The blue color is an optical illusion, light scattering through the colorless iris tissue. It's the same reason the sky looks blue. It's called Rayleigh scattering. Now here's where it gets strange. In 2008, researchers at the University of Copenhagen made a discovery. They were studying a gene called HIRS2. It sits right next to OCA2 on chromosome 15, and they found a single mutation in HIRS2, a switch that gets flipped off. When HIRS2 is mutated, it can no longer tell OCA2 to produce melanin in the iris. The melanin tap gets turned off permanently from birth. And this exact mutation, the exact same genetic change, is present in every single blue-eyed person alive. Not just similar mutations, the exact same one, in the exact same spot. This means they all trace back to one individual. Scientists call this a founder effect. One person had this mutation, they passed it on, their children passed it on. And 10,000 years later, around 8 to 10% of the entire human population has it. That's somewhere between 600 million and 800 million people today. All of them connected, all of them carrying the same ancient typo in their DNA. So where did this ancestor live? Best guess, somewhere near the Black Sea, around 6,000 to 10,000 BCE, during the Mesolithic period. These were hunter-gatherers. No agriculture, no metal, no civilization as we know it. And yet this tiny genetic glitch somehow survived. And thrived. Now the obvious question, why? Why would a mutation like this spread? In evolution, something spreads because it gives an advantage, or someone finds it attractive. Blue eyes offer no known survival advantage. None that we can prove. They don't improve vision, they don't protect from disease, they don't help you hunt. In fact, blue eyes are slightly more sensitive to light. That's actually a mild disadvantage. So the leading theory is sexual selection. People found blue eyes attractive. Rare traits can be attractive precisely because they're rare. It's called the rare male effect. Blue eyes in a world of brown eyes would have stood out dramatically. Standing out gets you noticed. Getting noticed gets you a mate. Getting a mate spreads your genes. That's evolution. It doesn't care about survival, it cares about reproduction. There's another theory too. Blue eyes may correlate with lighter skin and hair in cold, low-light environments. In low sunlight, having less melanin overall might allow the body to absorb more vitamin D. Vitamin D deficiency is deadly, so maybe the whole cluster of low pigment traits got selected together. Scientists call this genetic linkage. Traits that travel together on the genome. This is still debated. Nobody has proven why blue eyes spread. We know when. We know where. We know who. Kind of. But we don't know why. And that uncertainty is part of what makes this story genuinely strange. Now let's talk geography. Blue eyes are heavily concentrated in Northern and Eastern Europe. In Estonia and Finland, up to 89% of the population has blue eyes. In Ireland and Scotland, estimates range from 57 to 70%. As you move south toward the Mediterranean, the numbers drop sharply. In southern Spain and Italy, fewer than 20% of people have blue eyes. But blue eyes aren't exclusive to Europe. They appear in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and parts of the Middle East. Some link this to the migration of Bronze Age people, the Yamnaya steppe pastoralists. Around 5,000 years ago, the Yamnaya migrated out of the Eurasian steppe into Europe and South Asia. They brought their language, their culture, their livestock, and their genes. Ancient DNA analysis confirmed that Yamnaya individuals carried the blue eye mutation. So the spread of blue eyes and the spread of Indo-European languages may be connected. When those populations mixed with native Europeans, they brought the mutation with them. This is called admixture, the blending of previously separate populations. Now let's talk about what blue eyes actually look like from the inside. Your iris has two layers, the stroma at the front and the epithelium at the back. In brown-eyed people, the stroma contains lots of melanin granules, dense and dark. In blue-eyed people, that front stroma layer is nearly clear, almost transparent. Light passes through it, hits the back epithelium, which is always dark, and bounces back out. As it bounces, shorter blue wavelengths scatter more than longer red ones. This also explains why blue eyes can look gray or green or different shades in different light. The color isn't fixed. It's a live optical event happening every time you look at someone. Green eyes work the same way, but with a small amount of melanin added. Just enough to shift the scattering. Hazel is more complex. It's a patchwork of pigment levels across the iris, and gray eyes, even less melanin than blue. Some scientists consider them a subtype of blue. Now, what about eye color changes? You've probably heard eyes can change color as you age. Many babies are born with blue eyes because melanin production hasn't fully activated yet. As melanin kicks in over the first year or two, some eyes darken. Some stay blue. Genetics decides. If your genes carry the HAR2 mutation, the melanin switch stays off. Eyes stay blue. Here's something uncomfortable. Blue eyes are slowly becoming less common. In the early 1900s, around 80% of Americans had blue eyes. Now it's closer to 17%. That's not a disease or a disaster. It's just math. Brown is dominant. Blue is recessive. As global populations mix more and more, dominant brown alleles outnumber recessive blue ones. Blue eyes aren't going extinct, but they're diluting, slowly becoming rarer. And they started rare. One person, one mutation, spreading over thousands of years, which raises a genuinely haunting thought. What else did that one ancestor give us? Every genetic mutation traces back to someone, one body, one moment, one copying error. Most mutations disappear immediately. They're lethal, or they fail to reproduce. But occasionally, one survives, and then thrives, and then defines a trait for millions. The blue eye mutation isn't special. It's a survivor. There's a difference. Now let's talk about the actual study. The landmark paper was published in 2008, led by Hans Eiberg and colleagues at the University of Copenhagen. They analyzed the genomes of blue-eyed individuals from across the world. Despite being geographically separated by thousands of miles, the mutation was identical. Same position, same change, same letter swapped, every single time. Eiberg described it like this. The mutation is like a molecular clock with a single start point. One start, one ancestor, one world of blue-eyed descendants still walking around today. Let's talk about something else rarely mentioned. What the ancestor might have experienced. Being born with blue eyes in a world where everyone else had brown eyes would have been striking. We don't know how they were perceived. Sacred, strange, attractive, threatening. But they reproduced. That's what we know. That's all evolution requires. And now a few fascinating edge cases that most people don't know about. Heterochromia, having two different colored eyes, is caused by uneven melanin distribution. It can be genetic, or it can happen after injury, inflammation, or rare conditions. There are also amber eyes, a warm golden yellow caused by pheomelanin, a different pigment type. And then there are violet eyes, extremely rare, technically a form of blue with very specific light scattering. Total color blindness, achromatopsia, produces eyes so sensitive to light they appear almost silvery. Red eyes and albinism occur because, with no melanin at all, the blood vessels in the eye show through. Eye color is not just one gene. It's a complex system of many genes interacting. PRC2 and OCA2 are the main drivers, but at least 16 other genes play a role. This is why two brown-eyed parents can have a blue-eyed child. The recessive gene was hiding. The mutation can lie dormant for generations, invisible, waiting for the right genetic combination. Then two carriers meet, and suddenly, blue eyes appear in a family that hasn't had them for decades. It's like the mutation is patient, waiting, just one generation away from expressing itself. Now there's one more thing, something a little philosophical. That original ancestor, they had no idea what they were starting. They didn't know their eyes were unusual. They didn't know their genes would travel the world. They didn't know their descendants would be everywhere from Oslo to Kabul to Sao Paulo. All they did was exist. All their body did was make one single copying error. And that error is now in the eyes of hundreds of millions of people looking at this screen, or people who know someone with blue eyes, or who will meet someone with blue eyes tomorrow. All of them connected, all of them carrying the same ancient accident in their genetic code. That's what evolution actually is. Not grand design, not destiny, just accidents that survive. And this particular accident happened to be beautiful, which helped it survive. There's something worth pausing on. Eye color has zero effect on personality, despite centuries of folklore, astrology, and pseudoscience claiming otherwise. Blue eyes mean one thing: a HERC2 mutation inherited from a single prehistoric ancestor. That's it. That's the whole story. A typo in a gene, a cascade of faces. Now, one more dimension to this. Ancient DNA is rewriting everything we thought we knew. In 2023 and 2024, new ancient DNA studies found blue eye mutations in samples older than previously thought. This could push the origin of blue eyes back beyond 10,000 years, possibly to 13,000 BCE. The further back we look, the more complex the story becomes. Ancient DNA science is barely 20 years old. We're still in the early chapters. Every new excavation, every new bone fragment, every new genome could change the story. That's science. Not a fixed answer. A running answer that keeps getting updated. And right now, the running answer is one person, one mutation, 10,000 years ago. Give it another decade of ancient DNA research, and that answer will deepen again. For now, here's what we know for certain. Blue eyes are a shared inheritance. Not a race, not an ethnicity, not a culture, just a gene. Just one very ancient gene. The next time you look into someone's blue eyes, or your own in the mirror, you're looking at an echo, a 10,000-year echo of one accidental moment. One body, one typo, one chain of moments connecting then to now. Evolution doesn't write stories, but sometimes, accidentally, it creates them. And this one has hundreds of millions of characters, all connected, all unknowingly linked. Quick recap before we go. Blue eyes, no pigment in the stroma, optical scattering, Rayleigh effect. One founder mutation, HERC2 gene, chromosome 15, single nucleotide change, originated near the Black Sea, spread by migration, admixture, and sexual selection. Today, 600 to 800 million people, concentrated in Northern Europe, found worldwide. And the big unanswered question, why did it spread? We're still working on that one. If you have blue eyes, you are a living footnote in an ancient genetic document. If you don't have blue eyes, you carry the ancestral default, the original human setting. Neither is better, neither is worse. They're just two different outcomes of the same genetic lottery. Biology doesn't rank. It just experiments. We're all the experiments. One last thing. The original ancestor never got a name. We'll never know it. No monument. No record. Just a mutation still traveling through living bodies right now. That's how most of human history actually works. Unnamed people. Quiet, permanent influence. The most consequential moment in the history of blue eyes was completely silent. A cell divided. Made a mistake. And no one noticed. Not even the person it happened to. 10,000 years later, we're still looking at that mistake, calling it beautiful, which makes you wonder, what other mistakes are we walking around calling beautiful? That question doesn't have a neat answer. It just opens more questions, as it should. Stay curious. Stay a little unsettled. That's what keeps the questions alive. Thanks for watching. One person started all of this. Maybe one question can do the same.